Um, it is the 19th of August 2018. I'm making this video mainly because I haven't heard my own voice in weeks because, it's the summer break. I've got nothing to do and I haven't done anything either. I was sitting in my room for pretty much this entire summer. Um, I've only ever left it if I needed anything. And another reason is because there is something I wanted to get off my chest. Um, Recently, a couple of days ago, I've gotten some really terrible news. A classmate of mine and a really good friend also, let's call him Mark. Apparently he died on the 15th of August, a couple days ago. And the cause of his death was, I believe, volvulus, which is when a loop of intestine twists around itself and the mesentery that supports it, resulting in a bowel obstruction. It was very sudden and very quick. Apparently, sometime in the afternoon, he started having intense abdominal pain, lost consciousness, and at the hospital, they were trying to save his life for about 4 hours. Even tried giving him surgery, but couldn't save him, unfortunately. I've only found out about this like 2 days after his death. Another good friend of mine from my class, let's call him Sean, sent me a message on Messenger saying he had terrible news, and he explained everything, that Mark died, and he said that he's not joking, but naturally I was very skeptical of it at first. I couldn't believe that it could have been anything other than a stupid joke. But then he sent me a screenshot of Mark's cousin talking about his death in another group chat and explaining everything. This still didn't entirely convince me, so I decided to ask other people about this, and I messaged Mark himself, of course, to see if he was online, if he would respond, and therefore prove that he's not in fact dead. But no response came from his account. I asked his best friend Vince if he knew anything, and from his messages he already knew that that Mark was apparently dead, and he seemed pretty devastated, obviously, because they were best friends. So we talked about this, and he himself said that he couldn't really believe that this was true. He hoped that this was just, a sick joke or something. But he messaged Mark on pretty much every channel he could, like Facebook, obviously, Discord, his own phone. Even tried contacting his family in any way he could, but he couldn't, unfortunately. So yeah, everything looked like, this was true, that Mark was really dead. And so we spent the next couple hours discussing this whole thing, like whether it was really true, and death and stuff like that. It was pretty heavy, like, spending those hours worrying that our friend might be dead. Then later came the message from Mark's mom. She messaged Vince that it was true, and she gave confirmation that Mark was in fact dead, and he message the soul about it. So that was all the confirmation we needed, really. Um, so, and later after that, the head of class made an announcement on Facebook saying, pretty much everything that uh, could be said, that Mark was dead, and uh, that his mother called him about it, that Mark has passed away, and that there will be a funeral on the 27th. But it's not a final date yet. But me and my friends, we all decided that we will definitely go. It would be, you know, it would be dishonorable to his memory, I guess, if we didn't go, and I agree. But what I'm trying to get at here is that after all of that, whenever I try to think, wrap my head around it, that Mark was dead, I just couldn't. It was whenever I saw that announcement and thought about it, it didn't seem possible. It was like as if it was from a story, a book, or something. Like this couldn't happen in real life. It, Whenever it happened, it was kind of like an out of body experience. I couldn't believe that this was happening in my life. It was like seeing into someone else's. Um, it was just so surreal. I have accepted his death by now. I accept it. It happened. I acknowledged that, but still, even now, I just can't really like believe it, I guess. But I'm sure, after a while, it'll get easier. But the interesting thing here is that I have had other people die in my life. Like my grandfather died recently. My both of my godparents, who were my aunt and uncle at the same time, they also passed away one after the other recently. And their deaths, well, me hearing about them didn't have the same effect. I was surprised, and it my loved ones died. It obviously it had an effect on me, but it was different in that it wasn't as difficult to believe, I guess. I could accept their deaths a lot sooner and much easier than Mark's death. And I think that's because Mark was a lot closer to me and much, much younger. He was only 17. And I've known him personally, like, much better than I knew my godparents or my grandfather. And I guess the thought that um, I would never see him again, never speak to him again, all of that sort of, uh, it. I guess it played into it. Like it was unbelievable. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. You know, death is sudden. Nobody ever expects it to happen, and it could happen to you anytime, really. I almost died this year as well because of appendicitis. But that's another story that I will probably tell later because this isn't about me right now. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. Death is there's it's something that you have to experience to really understand. You see death all the time in movies and books and TV series. It's all around the media. But unless you experience it in real life, like the death of a loved one or someone who was close to you, you don't really understand the full impact of it. The entirety of it. You don't appreciate it as much. So I guess there's something to learn from this, and I hope that I did, and if I didn't, that I will learn something from this. And yeah, on the 27th, I will definitely go to his funeral. He deserves it. He he was a good friend to all of us. And yeah, so it was this was the 19th of August 2018. Um, I will definitely make more video diaries like this, I guess, monologues of my thoughts and what's going on in my life, so expect more of that. And yeah, I guess that's it. I'm gonna sign off now, and yeah, bye.